Welcome to the Real Film Nerds Podcast.
Hi, boys and girls, and welcome to Real Film Nerds Podcast episode number 221. God, that just makes me feel old. 221 podcasts. Either that or I'm just full of a lot of hot air, much like my co-host, sitting metaphorically next to me, Mysterious Mike Talent.
Hey, everybody. I don't think you're full of hot air, Matt. Man, come on.
I'm just full of farts?
Yeah, I guess that's hot air. So, never mind. Yes, you're full of hot air.
Have you ever put your hand on your butt when you fart? Is it hot or is it cold? I would think it would be hot.
I'm not going to answer that question.
Well, I know we've lit them on fire. Well, okay, I haven't lit any on fire. You haven't lit any on fire, but we have witnessed others light them on fire, and that's definitely hot air.
Well, yes, that is hot air, and it's like a blue flame. It was a lot different than I thought it would be. Anyway, I think that's enough about farts and fire. Let's talk about this movie, which has lots of fire in it.
See, that's a great roll-in, Mike. See, I got it going right. Lighting farts on fire just goes right on to this Wildfire movie starring Angelina Jolie because it was like a giant fart for 2.5 hours.
Wow. Jeez. I did not feel the same, Matt. So I guess you want me to roll into the rundown, or what do you think?
Wow. Okay. Well, I figured you're just going to jump on in, but yeah, Mike, go ahead. Why don't you give us the rundown for this week's review? Those Who Wish Me Dead, currently available to watch in the movie theaters and streaming on HBO Max.
All right, Matt. So, Those Who Wish Me Dead is directed by Taylor Sheridan. It is the screenplay was written by Michael Cureta, Charles Levate, and the screenplay was by Taylor Sheridan. And this movie is starring Angelina Jolie, Nicholas Hoult, Flynn Little, John Berntal, Aidan Gillian, Jake Weber, and Tyler Perry. And as Matt was talking about, a teenage murder witness finds himself pursued by twin assassins in Montana wilderness with a survival expert tasked with protecting him and a forest fire threatening to consume them all.
So, Mike, I thought this movie was very boring.
So I didn't think it was boring. I kind of liked it. The only thing that was a little bit, I was hoping there'd be more fire stuff in it, being like a smoke jumper and stuff, but it wasn't really about that. It was more about this, very straightforward story, and about some people chasing this kid and the links that they'll go to. Yeah, I don't know. That was pretty straightforward. But I was hoping for more fire stuff.
It leaves a lot to be desired because there's no motive. Okay, he's running because, spoilers, his father was murdered in front of his face by these people, and his father is a lawyer. He did something, prosecuted someone, and these people are hunting him down, but it doesn't explain why they're hunting him down, for what reasons. Clearly something. They don't explain why they're from the federal government. Again, that's a spoiler right there. And we'll talk about that scene later. It doesn't explain a lot, and that's the biggest issue I had with this. They develop Angelina Jolie's character quite a bit, and she's almost not even so much the main character. I mean, she is, but it's more about this kid and him trying to escape these assassins.
It is about the kid, and you find a little bit out about the kid's story as well, and that's really about it. Not much else is given on any of the other characters in the movie, but I think it's okay. I don't think you needed... There is one part, though, I did want to find out more about, was the officers and his wife's survivalist camp or whatever. I wanted to know just a little bit more about it, because besides just like a picture, I didn't know it was a survivalist camp.
Survivalist camp? Which officer? The John Bernthal's character?
Yeah, John Bernthal's character. Yeah, like they ran a survival camp thing at their house. But
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, we'll see. The only way you would have noticed was in that picture that they find at the house where the son and father live. There was a picture of them at the survivalist camp.
Well, but John Bernthal is the brother-in-law of the lawyer that is killed. So that's his nephew that's coming to see him. So, but again, I know what you're trying to say. They didn't know John Bernthal because of the survivalist camp. It's because they're related, but they went out there and went to the camp.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. They attended the camp. Okay, all right. I thought they ran the camp. I don't know. Like you said, there's not a lot of things explained, so it's just I don't know what's going on.
Well, and that's the biggest issue I have with this movie. I just wish there was a lot more. I liked Nicholas Hoult and Finn Little. I thought they were great villains because you kind of are rooting for them, but you're kind of not because they're just terrible assassins that are good at their job. But also there's something more going on behind the scenes with them, and they're not explaining it. Tyler Perry makes a cameo. I wish he would have had a little bit bigger role. This is where you get the hint that they're from the government. If you were paying attention, the Suburban that he jumps in is a government vehicle. It has government plates on it.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed that, and I figured it was the government. The very brief scene with the father talking to his son said he was a forensic accountant, and he found some stuff on some very high up people. He said people in the government, and that's really all he said. I think he said maybe senators or lawyers. I don't know. He was fairly vague.
They're just. I wish there was just more explaining more of the main characters, I guess is a good way to put it. I mean, and Angelina Jolie, I understand where her character's coming from and being in a smoke tower. Don't even get me started on the Firewatch Tower. I've been to several Firewatch Towers. Mike, have you ever been to any?
I have not. Been to any. That looked like kind of a neat place, but also really terrifying, and it doesn't have a bathroom. I was like, man, it seems like poor planning.
Yeah, it's not a true representation of a Firewatch Tower. It's actually quite barren. There might be others out there in the world that are like this, but I've not been in any that are like that. I've been in, I think 4 in and around northern Arizona. They have roads directly to them because you need to get people food and water. They have bathrooms. They have electricity. I don't know if they have internet. I would highly, highly doubt that. But they do have radios. That is how they communicate. And that's their assignment. They're assigned at that Firewatch Tower for however many months or whatever it is. And they are not supposed to leave that post without someone taking over for them because they have to be there to monitor the scene and, notify most of it here is notifying if lightning starts a fire.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that makes sense, Matt. I would say also to bring tech into this, with the new Starlink stuff, it would be a lot easier to pop one of those little McDish face or whatever they call it, antennas up on the top there, and then you have internet.
Dude, I'm truly excited for Starlink, even though I'm not in a super rural community. Prescott's considered rural to a degree. They're promoting supposedly between 1 and 10 gigabytes a second. I would sign up for that if it's reasonable in a heartbeat just to get that kind of speed. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, well, I think realistically right now what they're getting out of the better than beta or whatever they're calling it, or the best we can do beta, something like that, is 200 to 400 megabits per second with 20 to 30 ping times, milliseconds, which is pretty good.
All right, Mike, so let's do this. Completely not related to Starlink, but kind of related to technology. We've teased it in a couple podcasts up to this point. Guess what, Mike? we have another giveaway from our good friends over at Paramount.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited about this one.
Mike, do you remember watching the trailers for this? I never got to see this in the theaters. I wanted to see it in the theaters, but it was not ever released in Prescott for very long. Granted, it was, COVID world. But this week we are giving away copies, Blu-ray physical copies of the brand new film, The Mauritanian.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing a trailer for it, and I did not get a chance to see it at the theater either, Matt. But it has been a lot tougher to get out to the theater, especially now with being a father. My time is taken dealing with my little son, so it's a lot trickier to get over to the theater. But occasionally we can try and make it out there. And but yeah, this one looks great, man. Mauritanian.
You know what? Let's go ahead and just do what we want for people to enter for the contest before I do our business. So if you would like to be entered into our giveaway to win a Blu-ray copy of The Mauritanian, the question we are asking is, what is your favorite Jodie Foster film? Mike, what's yours?
So, Matt, I had to think about this for a little bit. And, what I was thinking was, how I've liked alien stuff for a long time, and it's really neat that the DOD just declassified a whole bunch of stuff that aliens are probably out there. But anyway, she starred in this movie.
What?
Yeah, the Pentagon just released a whole bunch of stuff about UFOs. And they're real.
Of course they are. This is an awfully lot of space to be wasted on just us.
Yes, exactly, man. But Jodie Foster starred in this movie Contact. It came out in the 90s. And I liked it because it leaves you kind of guessing and questioning stuff. And I kind of like that about that movie. So I'm going to have to go with Contact.
Well, as you will hear at the end of this podcast, my discussion with Lisa Life and Local on Magic 99.1, that is one of the films that I brought up that I actually enjoy quite a bit, is Jodie Foster in Contact. I really enjoyed that film. We might have even seen that together, Mike. I'm not sure.
We might have.
It was the 90s. But I really enjoyed Contact, even though it got a lot of hate from the critics and everyone else because they just didn't get it. And that was kind of the draws, much like yourself, on why I enjoyed it. But I really enjoyed Contact. Taxi Driver is a classic, but I have to go with another classic just because it's the film as a whole and the people that she's playing off of are just incredible. But I know it's a cop-out, but Silence of the Lambs, I just absolutely love that film. It was so good.
Yeah, I think that might be one of the more popular Jodie Foster movies. Taxi Driver also. But yeah.
But Contact, I really enjoyed it as well. I had a hard time choosing as well, but I mean, Silence of the Lambs is just such a pinnacle. I mean, with Anthony Hopkins and just amazing. Anyways, okay, so I need to get our little bit of business done and out of the way. Here we go, folks. You know what to do. You know where to email us, nerds@realfilmnerds.com. So, all right, here we go. Yours to own now on digital, Blu-ray, and DVD. Academy Award winner Jodie Foster, Tahir Rahim, Shailene Woodley, and Academy Award nominee Benedict Cumberbatch star in The Mauritanian, the riveting and emotionally compelling true story of courage and survival against all odds. Based on the New York Times bestseller, bring home the critically acclaimed film filled with all new exclusive bonus content, including an alternate opening, never before seen deleted scenes, and much more. Own The Mauritanian now on digital, Blu-ray, and DVD. All right, folks, you know what you got to do. Hit us up, send us an email. We'll put you in the drawing, and we'll let you know if you win. All righty, Mike, on with the show.
All right, Matt. Well, I think we've reached that important part of the show, Matt, where I ask you, what are you drinking today?
Well, Mike, thank you for asking. I'm drinking a plain old boring Miller Lite. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay, man. That's all right. I thought you were going to have the champagne, but that's okay. Miller Lite's all right.
For some reason, I like my Miller products. Maybe it's just because I drank so many Budweiser products when we were younger. I'm not going to say what ages, but younger. So when I go to like the what you would call more the American lagers, the American beers, I tend to go with the Miller family. I don't know why, but I just like them. Okay, Mike, go ahead. You're sitting there looking at it. What IPA are you drinking tonight?
All right, man. Yes, once again, you've detected what I was drinking. I feel like you can just smell the bitterness over there in Arizona. Anyway, I am drinking a Wicked Weed Brewing Appalachia Session IPA.
Wow, you and your fancy beers.
Yeah, this one's out of Asheville, North Carolina.
Well, okay, Mike, that means it is now time for my favorite question of the podcast next to our giveaways. Of course. Those are my favorite part, other than talking to you every week. Mike, how does Those Who Wish Me Dead, starring Angelina Jolie and Nicholas Hoult and Finn Little, relate to the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Well, Matt, thanks for asking. I was a little worried on this one because it's a pretty small cast, and I know Nicholas Hoult was in some Marvel movies, but not Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, because he was in X-Men movies. But I did find that the composer for this movie, Brian Taylor, also was the composer on Iron Man 3 and The Avengers Age of Ultron. So, once again, the streak continues, Matt.
Well, Mike, I'm proud of you. You're doing your job. You're on it.
Thanks, man.
So, okay, that means we're now in our spoiler territory, which I've already pretty much spoiled most of it. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to say this was a bad movie. It just, I expected more. I wanted a lot more.
So, Matt, I'm going to open up to you a little bit here. Being a father now, some of these things are a little different watching some of these movies. And so the little kid and the father thing was a little bit, I don't know, it feels different now watching some of these movies.
Are you going to cry? Holy shit.
No, I'm just saying it's a lot different watching it now, like that kind of thing. The pregnant woman getting thrown around. Oh man.
That bothered me a lot. That really would have pissed me off if she would have been killed, because that was a whole nother level. I was like, God, they're going to freaking execute a pregnant woman. That really was going to just turn me off from this movie. Luckily they didn't, but that whole thing just really, really bothered me.
Yeah, I didn't know how she's going to get out of that one. I don't think it kind of foreshadowed a little bit what was going to happen, but I didn't understand what the thing is that they were showing me. In the very beginning when she grabs the, whatever the spray stuff is.
I think it was maybe bear spray. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but whatever she got, it was like foreshadowing, and I didn't know what that was.
Anyways, if they would have killed her, I would have been very, very, very upset. I'm still not happy, again, spoilers, how John Bernthal's character died, sitting up there, and how the fire tower miraculously doesn't burn down, but she lives through it. John Bernthal dies of his injuries because he was shot a few times. I'm not a huge fan that, there's going to be a child out there without a dad because of this. But again, that one kid did lose his dad, and they were just going on a road trip, right?
Yeah. I like the there's a little scene. Well, there's a couple scenes with Angelina Jolie and the kid that were actually kind of genuine, but the one where they're sitting down and she's making a little fire for him because he's getting cold, and she's talking about how what happened to her with the fire, and then like the kid's like, yeah, I watched my mom die of cancer, and she's like, man, I can't talk to you. I can't feel sorry for myself when I talk to you.
Right, yeah, because she's like trying to explain how what's affected her is that she was trying to protect these kids from this fire and they got burned up, which totally never would have happened, like ever. They would have evacuated the living hell out of that area before, any kids would have been anywhere near a fire like that. But people do die in wildfires. It just typically isn't civilians.
Yeah, but that was a funny moment, and I thought it was pretty well done how that went. Like, I thought that was well acted back and forth.
Oh no, that was really good. It was really good on both their parts. Interesting part about this, Mike. Did you watch any of the behind the scenes stuff they had on HBO Max?
I did not, actually. I probably should have.
Oh yeah, you missed out. Okay, so Taylor Sheridan, almost all the fire, not all of it, but almost all the close fire shots are practical effects.
Oh, that's cool. I was going to bring this up, Matt, about Taylor Sheridan. He's the guy who wrote Hell or High Water, that movie that we love so much.
And Sicario.
Yeah.
That's one thing. That's why I'm kind of disappointed. Maybe why my score's, going to reflect my disappointment in him specifically. I guess it just held him to higher standards, and I didn't feel like this movie succeeded. I don't know. But anyways, Taylor Sheridan sat down and built a 300-acre forest in the middle of the desert that they could light on fire for all the close fire shots.
Wow. That's interesting, man.
It's pretty cool. So like anytime you see him like running through stuff, or like the scene where the kids are coming over, that's all practical. Some of it might be digital, but he really tried to do as much practical as he could. And I love that. I always applaud that over digital. I mean, digital looks great. It looks incredible now, but going that extra effort and doing real practical effects, hands down, I love it.
So he's going more the Christopher Nolan route because he loves practical effects and really tries not to use as much special effects as possible.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I mean, Christopher Nolan really did crash a 747 into a building, and the budget reflects that on Tenet.
I mean, he's done some crazy stuff. I mean, The Dark Knight, they really flipped the that semi, and it really blew out all those windows, and that was not planned.
No, it was not. They had to pay for it. Yeah, I remember hearing about that. So, well, all right, Mike, I guess we should go ahead and get to it unless there's anything else you want to talk about in the spoiler section.
No, like I kind of mentioned earlier, I was just hoping a little bit more about the smoke jumpers and some of that stuff. Like, it was kind of fun in the beginning of the movie where the latest smoke jumpers are getting initiated into the I guess fraternal order of smoke jumpers or whatever they call it. I don't know. And
I like it.
Yeah, and then they're all drinking and stuff in the back and hooting, hollering, and then they're like, "All right, she's gonna do it," and then she jumps in the truck and just rips the chute. That was nuts.
Oh yeah, I wish there would have been a lot more stuff like that, like more shenanigans, more smoke jumper, more fire stuff. The wildfire that the assassins start is almost like an afterthought in a way. I mean, it's clearly very important towards the end of the film, but it's more of almost like an afterthought. Like, and her being a smoke jumper is an afterthought. It's more about the story of the kid. At least that's what I feel. And I don't think that Angelina Jolie is really the main character. She might be the biggest name, but it's more about the kid and the people that he comes across that try and help him get to safety, and also to eventually, as you see, the news media to expose whatever happened with his father and all these other lawyers and the government.
Yeah.
And that left me wanting the end right there. I would have loved tie it all up right there. Have the kids say exactly what happened, and there's your end. No, it's a bunch of helicopters flying into a forest fire that's digitally created. And, there wouldn't have been that many helicopters without buckets underneath them, unless they have like 27 news stations.
Yeah, I was wondering where their slurry was myself, but hey, what do I know?
Well, I'm trying not to get too particular because, I've spent a lot of time in and around wildfires from my previous, life of being a photojournalist. So I know a lot, not as much as an actual firefighter, but I know more than your average person. And it was like, okay, so there's like 5 helicopters taking off, and maybe 1 or 2 of them I could believe without having some form of system to put out a fire, but that many not without buckets or any hose or nothing. Nope. It was just for dramatic effect. Sorry, Taylor. So anyways, all right, Mike, how many reels?
So I'm going to give this one 3.5 reels. I liked it, man.
Wow, boy, we are definitely different on this one. Definitely. Maybe I am becoming the bitter old man. We've discussed that before, though.
Yeah, I think all this year of 2021, you've been the bitter old man.
It's the COVID, man. It made me bitter.
Yeah, well, you definitely don't want any IPAs then, man.
No, I'm bitter enough without it. So, Mike, I give Those Who Wish Me Dead 2 out of 5 reels.
Ooh, yeah, pretty harsh, Matt. Pretty harsh. That's okay. We all have different opinions.
Just like assholes.
You used that one just a few weeks ago. You can't keep doing it.
But it's my favorite.
All right. Well, just this last time.
Fine. I'll stop using it. Why don't you, Mike, tell us, since you were able to figure out a film in time because we are recording later than we normally are. Mike, what movie did you pick that we're going to review for next week?
Yes. We are going to review one of the Netflix movies that's coming out starring David Bautista. And it is called... Oh, I can't think of the name.
Army of the Dead.
Army of the Dead. Thank you, Matt.
Written, directed, and cinematography by Zack Snyder.
Yeah, so this one should be fun. Right now, it is currently in a few theaters. I believe there's some sort of deal with Cinemark, and I don't think AMC or Regal are screening it. And then starting on Friday, it will be, let's see, what Friday is that? The
May 21st.
Yeah, May 21st. It will be on Netflix for everyone to enjoy.
Well, okay, Mike. I'm looking forward to this one. I think this will be a fun action zombie bank heist movie.
Yeah, it's, zombie outbreak in Las Vegas. Sounds great, man. It's like Resident Evil 8.
They just came out with a Resident Evil. I don't know if they have a number on it anymore, but there are a lot of Resident Evil games now.
No, I'm talking about the movies. Remember the Resident Evil where it was in Vegas?
I don't know. I stopped watching after like the 3rd one. They were just getting so bad.
Oh yeah, it's not great, but I love Resident Evil. I just watch it.
Mila Jovovich, I have to hand it to them. They did keep her through all the movies.
They have.
And that's astounding.
That is.
Well, all right, Mike. I guess that's it for Real Film Nerds Podcast episode number what, Mike?
221, right?
Very good. Woo! I'm just throwing these out there just to screw you up because you're sitting there looking at your phone.
Well, I'm trying to figure out what the name of that Resident Evil movie was. I think it's Apocalypse is the one that's in... No, maybe it's the final chapter. Afterlife? Ah, man, there's so many. Afterlife, maybe?
Okay, Google.
Are you asking?
No, I don't know. I'm just trying to help you out.
Dude, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know which one it is anymore. But that's okay.
Okay, if you're really interested, people, go sit down and look it up for yourself. It's one of the many Resident Evils.
Oh, maybe it's Extinction. Oh man, there's so many. Okay, doesn't matter. Anyway, I want to thank everyone for listening, and make sure to hit us up on the socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or nerds at Real Film Nerds, and enter our contest to win our great giveaway this week. And we look forward to hearing what your favorite Jodie Foster movie is. And yeah, I guess go out and stream a movie if you want, or if you feel comfortable, vaccinated, whatever. Go watch a movie at a theater. Let's try and keep some of these movie theaters alive. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thank you for listening to The Real Film Nerds. Now, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Real Film Nerds. Now, go out and catch a movie.
In the station with me, in the studio and the station with me on Magic 99.1, it is Matt Hinshaw from the Real Film Nerds podcast. The crowd goes wild.
You're a crowd of one.
How you doing, Matt?
So the question is can you have the station without the studio, or can you have the studio without the station?
You
I'm
can
confused.
have the station without the studio, but you cannot have the studio without the station.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
Got it.
makes sense.
Okay.
Unless you have a home studio. So, no, I think you can.
I was going to say, I record at home, on my computer, and,
Right.
but it's not a studio. It's not a station.
It's
a
not
studio.
live.
So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if they could figure out how I could do this from home live in my pajamas, I mean, we probably would have done that by now during the pandemic, don't you think?
So coming to the studio in your pajamas isn't good enough then,
Well,
because I mean,
yes.
it's a little difficult here, Lisa.
No, it isn't. It really isn't. Let me tell you, I've done it a bazillion times. Anyhow, let's talk about the movies.
Okay.
You saw a movie this past
did.
week, and it was Those Who Wish Me Dead. Now, wait, before you get to it, it was directed by Angelina Jolie, and everybody wants to know if Jennifer Aniston suggested the name of the movie.
It was not directed by Angelina Jolie, but it was a good try, though. It was directed and written by Taylor Sheridan.
But was Angelina Jolie in it?
Angelina was the star, though.
Oh, okay.
Or supposedly
That
the
was
star.
my
I don't know. I'm
attempt at a
confused.
really lame joke.
No. I got
Lame.
it. I got it. I
Okay,
mean,
very good.
you
Very
know.
good. How was the movie?
it was mediocre.
Yeah.
I really expected more, especially being Taylor Sheridan. He's a very good writer and director. He's well known for lots of other thrillers he's done in the past. But this one, I mean, it's a good film. It leaves you wanting more, though. They go into the backstory a little bit of Angelina Jolie. They don't really go into the backstory of the kid who is trying to run away. You don't have like a good like ending. And then as we discussed last week, there's a forest fire in there. The forest fire is kind of like an afterthought, but she's a smoke jumper that's being forced to man a fire tower. I'm not going to get into like the specifics that were like all screwy because, you know, as you and I both know, we live in an area where we get lots of fire. So we know a lot more than the average person,
Right.
Especially about fire towers and how fires are fought and things like that. And it was a little questionable,
Yeah.
but it was interesting because the large majority of even the fire stuff
Yeah.
is practical. Taylor Sheridan went and built a 300-acre forest in the middle of the desert so he could light it on fire for this movie.
Oh, wow. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
pretty neat. So
Okay. So the special effects were good then.
the acting is decent.
Acting is decent.
I'll be honest, Angelina Jolie looks like she needs a sandwich. But, you know.
She's always looked that way. Give me a
No,
break.
she's like a whole nother level.
Really?
I think she's always been like, you know, skinny, but not
Yeah.
like scary skinny.
Yeah.
In this, she's like,
Scary skinny.
yeah,
Okay.
it's like, girl, you need to eat something.
Concerning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And how was her acting?
It was okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't bad. It was good
Right.
as always, but
Right.
her character left a lot to be desired. Her character was supposed to be a little nuts, a little crazy,
Yeah.
but also compassionate, but then also remorseful. There was a lot going on with her character, and I mean, she did well with it, but
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you say how many reels?
I give it 2.
2 out of 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't waste my time.
I mean, if you have HBO Max, here's the thing. It's in the theaters, and it's on HBO Max.
Okay.
It'll be on HBO Max for a month.
Okay.
If you get time, watch on HBO Max.
Right.
You're not going to hate yourself for it.
Yeah.
You'll be like, but you'll find out. It'll leave you wanting more when it's over.
Okay.
I don't recommend spending the $9 or $10 or $12 or whatever it is to go to the theater.
Okay.
Not worth it.
All right, fair enough. What are we going to take a look at this coming week?
So this coming week, it is my co-host pick, and he is going with the brand new Netflix movie that drops May 21st, Army of the Dead.
Army of the Dead.
Army of the Dead. It is a zombie / bank robbery film.
Okay.
It looks very interesting.
Does
it's directed, I don't know if it's written, but it's directed by Zack Snyder.
Okay. And what's it going to be about? Do we know?
Well, there's, according to the trailers, there's Vegas is overrun by zombies. And I don't know if it's the owner of a casino or whatever, but he has money in a bank vault in one of the casinos, and he hires a team to go to the casino and get the money out through this horde of zombies.
Oh, wow. Sounds intriguing.
It looks like a lot of fun. We'll see. Okay. Hopefully it does really good.
Right.
I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, very good. And you said that's on Netflix, huh?
Netflix. It comes out on Netflix on May 21st.
Okay, very cool. And you have a giveaway this morning.
I have a giveaway, yeah, from my friends over at Paramount. I got a few of these guys. I'm holding it in my hands.
Yeah, your hot little hand.
Yeah, I got a few of these Blu-rays of the Mauritanian, starring Jodie Foster and Benedict Cumberbatch. It's based on a true story. It came out in the theaters. It was all kind of Oscar buzz around it last year, but it was in the theaters for like a week. Nobody saw it.
Okay.
But we're now giving a bunch of copies away. So
all right.
I think the question I'm going to ask, if you want to be entered into the contest to win a copy, is what is your favorite Jodie Foster film?
Ooh, what is your favorite Jodie Foster film, Matt?
You know, I have lots.
Oh, she's so good.
She is. She's very good.
Yeah.
But I know everyone's going to be like, oh, it's a cop-out? Silence of the Lambs.
I was going to say the same thing.
Amazing.
I was going to say the same thing.
I enjoyed Contact.
Yeah.
I love Taxi Driver, but
Yes.
Silence of the Lambs is pinnacle in my book.
For sure. Enter to win the Blu-ray of what's the name of the movie? I can't pronounce it.
The movie is The Mauritanian.
The Mauritanian.
There you go.
At nerds at realnerds.com. Catch Matt's podcast. No, I didn't get it right again.
Nerds at Real Film Nerds.
What I say, nerds at
Nerds at Real Nerds.
That, I like that better.
I might have to buy that. Real
Catch
Nerds.
Matt's podcast, Real Film Nerds. Right? The
Yeah,
Real
you
Film
got that one
Nerds?
right. Yeah.
All right. And catch him here every Monday morning on what station, Maddie?
The one, the only, the magical Magic 99.1.